St. Vincent considers suing Trinidad over a currency issue. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, January 16th. From the CMT News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves may turn to the Caribbean Court of Justice to settle a currency issue that has seen Vincentian traders in agricultural produce being unable to convert their earnings to EC dollars after plying their trade in Trinidad and Tobago. He says while his government has implemented short-term measures to deal with the matter, a long-term solution is needed. As a result of the current situation, some traders have stockpiled Trinidad and Tobago currency in Port of Spain, and farmers in St. Vincent are reluctant to sell their produce to those traders because of the delay in getting paid. To deal with this, Kingstown has set up a facility at the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that allows the conversion of TT dollars to EC dollars. Gonsalves says he will raise the matter at the upcoming intersessional meeting of CARICOM leaders in Haiti next month.
And I will raise it and I will make certain suggestions about certain things which we may have to do beyond what we have been trying. I know the governor of the central bank has been trying with the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, of our central bank in the currency union. And we're not making the progress which we should be making. So Ashford, you have raised an issue of great importance. And that is why I called it the kind of priority that I accord it. And to see if we can have a long-term solution, which is fair.
Gonsalves commented on the stockpiles of TT dollars that Vincentian traders have in the Twin Island Republic.
Because you see what happens, a lot of people who go down and take agricultural products, and they get the TT dollars, okay, they come back, we have a certain amount of money here to give, and so far the major persons are being, the people in the trade, I'm told, are being accommodated properly. But they have a lot of cash, TT dollars, back up in Trinidad. What do you want them to do? To buy Trinidadian goods to bring them here to sell? This is what I said to Rowley. I said it's wrong, it's unfair. And I haven't checked the lawyers on it, but I suspect that it is a matter which the CCJ may well have to pronounce on.
Trinidad says it's constrained by a shortage of foreign exchange in its financial sector, but Gonsalves, who is also a lawyer, said Port of Spain cannot simply say that things are difficult and it doesn't have the foreign exchange. He says he understands that Trinidad and Tobago may have a problem, but he urged the government there to put aside some of the extra money they have and pay up.
I'm not resting with it. I can't buy your oil, your products from Petrochem. I can't buy your Buster, your Bermuda's biscuit. I can't buy all of those things. You have a trade surplus with me, with St. Vincent and Grenadines, annually of about $100 million. And listen, when you do it for the whole of the OECS, because, the currency union, because properly speaking, in economic terms, in monetary terms, we should use the number for the whole of the currency union, because we have one currency. So the matter is even worse when you look at it from the standpoint of the currency union, and it's unacceptable.
Over in Jamaica, a land dispute has led to millions of dollars worth of coffee beans being destroyed, and the affected farmers are seeking assistance from authorities. We get the details in this TVJ News report.
Foggy day in the Blue Mountains. The atmosphere a reflection of the mood of scores of workers employed to this coffee farm. They came to find it in ruin last week. Ruined not by the forces of nature, but by man.
Me tell you from yesterday, me faint. Me drop down dead. Me no know me no bury already. To how me feel.
Come like I have a emptiness inside, cause there is no way mankind could wicked like this to do such things.
Right now I feel like say I know they on the earth right now. How I feel like everything gone. Like the world done for me.
The land has been at the center of a long court battle for ownership which started in 2009. For decades, it had been used by the farmers of Epping Farm in St. Thomas. The Supreme Court, however, ruled in favor of the proprietors of Abbey Green Farms in November 2017, giving them the clear to take possession of the property which they had purchased from the state. Lawyers representing the St. Thomas coffee farmers last week filed an application for a stay of the judgment. That was January 9. But on the 10th, the new owners started efforts to clear the land, cutting trees, including acres of mature coffee beans.
Now we out our job. Time now for we work. Next month coming, we are got the home sit and look and say, Lord Jesus.
It painful to see your last over about 7 or 8 acre coffee bearing, ready to reap. Because next month a reaping time, see it here, we're ready to reap with coffee. We have no other alternative to live off of it from February until August.
In photographs sent to our news center, a policeman from the Cedar Valley Police Station was seen appealing to the owners to stop his men from destroying the field. The destruction of the coffee plants has caused despair because in a few weeks' time, reaping season will be in full swing. Except on this farm, there's nothing to reap.
We produce the best coffee up here. At the highest point, you know. No more coffee, no, there's no way. Higher than this, right up under the peak there, so. We want justice, because if law for the rich man, law for the poor man, because the poor run this country, and not the rich man, and the poor.
The affected farmers have since filed an official complaint in the courts charging malicious destruction of property. They're also seeking compensation for damages. There are concerns, though, that it may be another long battle in the courts. It's, however, a battle that they vowed to fight in the name of their ancestors who cared for and benefited from the land for more than 100 years.
Political parties in Jamaica wanting to contest elections will now face greater scrutiny as new regulations come into effect. Parties must now have their finances monitored and regulated by the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ, to meet the criteria for state funding. They must also be registered with the ECJ in order to participate in elections and referenda. That was disclosed Monday at the official launch of the system for registration of political parties. So far, the ruling Jamaica Labour Party and the opposition People's National Party have been awarded their certificates of provisional registration. Speaking at the launch, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the system marks a milestone for Jamaica.
A framework for the registration of political parties, while also facilitating a system whereby an accurate and up-to-date record can be kept on each political party. Political parties must lead from the front and set our houses in order. We must ensure that the mask of anonymity is removed, leading to greater accountability and transparency.
Still in Jamaica, 2 female wards of the state were killed when a fire engulfed a privately run children's home on Monday night. The girls were ages 12 and 16. Police said the blaze started shortly before 11 p.m. at the Walker's Place of Safety, which serves as a transitional residence for children who have been abandoned or removed from their homes. The facility was completely destroyed. The other 34 children housed at the home, along with staff, have been moved to a temporary holding facility at a nearby church. Junior Minister in the Education Ministry, Floyd Green, said it was a devastating and traumatic experience for all involved. He said the cause of the fire remains undetermined and an investigation will be conducted with the help of the fire department to find out what happened. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, an almost month-long strike at a state agency in Grenada is finally over. The details after the break. Stay with us.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Pastor, two things you're about to say.
Yeah. So, you know, often we start, when we talk about faith, spirituality, we start with what we believe. But let's start with what we know, all right? We know that we've had at least 6,000 years of civilization developing over time. We've had Egypt, we've had Babylon, we've had the Medes, we have the Persians, we have the Macedonians, who are known as the Greeks, we've had the Romans, we've had empires.
We continue in Grenada, where the almost a month-long protest action at the state-owned National Water and Sewage Authority, NWASA, has ended. The 45 workers who began industrial action on December 18th last year to pressure NWASA to make them permanent workers instead of contract workers were back on the job on Monday. But under a temporary non-disclosure agreement, both the trade union and the statutory body are restricted from saying what agreement was reached to get the workers back on the job. President General of the Technical and Allied Workers Union, Andre Lewis, said the details won't be made public until the time is right. Well, Monday marked the start of the three-day state funeral for former President of Trinidad and Tobago, Professor George Maxwell Richards. He died last Monday after suffering a heart attack. Monday's proceedings began with a military procession to the Parliament building, where several well-wishers paid their respects. And as the body lay in state, parliamentarians shared memories of him.
Always have an open door with President Max Richards, and one in which he gave you a certain kind of advice. He made you feel comfortable even in his own sphere. The sort of advice that he gave you to lead and to manage the force. He had a way of putting across his thoughts in that it was not insulting, it was not demeaning, it was not in orders, but you get the idea that he was trying to assist you as much as possible in managing and running the defense force.
And the Minister of Planning, Camille Robinson-Regis, noted that the country lost a great man.
An outstanding individual, not just as a president, but as a person. He certainly reflected the views of the ordinary man in the street. He made his contribution not only as president of Trinidad and Tobago, but in the oil industry and also at the University of the West Indies, where his legacy is well known. We are very saddened by his passing, which
Opposition leader Kamala Prasad-Bissessa remembers the former president as a teacher and mentor and shared what she wrote in the condolence book.
Well, of course, we express our sadness at the loss of His Excellency. And I'll tell you what I wrote in the tribute today. He was a president to the max, in every sense of the word, a great son of Trinidad and Tobago, and we are very proud of the work he did and of his achievements. So to his family, our condolences, and of course, may his soul rest in peace.
And MP for St. Augustine, Prakash Ramada, has these words to comfort for the family.
We have lost a great soul. It's a generation that I wish we could replicate, and we should not just look on in history on his life and many others like him in the past, but try to emulate, because I truly believe that our heroes, having passed, their life message is one for our future. And I think that citizens must rise to the level of service, the dignity, and the sense of joie de vivre that he exercised. Because I could tell you now, even in his passing, whenever I think of him, it brings a smile to my heart. And I just hope for his family and all of those who grieve to know full well that in time grief can be replaced with joy for our life having been well lived.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, advice for the West Indies as they prepare for World Cup qualification against Ireland. We'll tell you who's giving it and what they're saying when we return.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
So I'm gonna start off by making my seasoning mixture, and I have some garlic, some pimento peppers. This has a lot of flavor but not too much heat, but sometimes you can get some pimento peppers with lots of heat. I have 1.5 hot peppers.
Welcome back. Continuing with sports now, former Trinidad and Tobago captain and West Indies batsman Darren Ganga is urging the West Indies to tread cautiously as they prepare for World Cup qualification against Ireland. The Caribbean side is hoping to book a spot in the 2019 one-day showpiece in England. The schedule for the much-anticipated qualifiers was released by the International Cricket Council on Monday. Ganga says while the West Indies may be poised to qualify for the World Cup, it won't be a walk in the park.
Drawn in Group A alongside Ireland, the Netherlands, Papua New Guinea and the winner of the ICC World Cricket League Division 2, the West Indies' task is, as they say, cut out. The Irish, as the West Indies well know from this moment at the 2015 tournament, cannot be discounted on their day.
That's over the top and that's it.
It's another famous day in Irish cricketing history.
On the other hand, the Netherlands is a recognized ODI nation, although it would only reassume ODI status when this qualifying campaign is over, having won World League Division 1. It is for these reasons that Darren Ganga advises caution.
Well, I think it will be a mammoth task because, I mean, every single nation knows how special it is to represent itself at a World Cup, a cricket World Cup, to be quite honest. I'm fearful of the underdog status of some of these teams, also Ireland.
The former West Indies and TNT batsman says qualifying will not be a breeze and instead believes that what the Windies do before the tournament and not necessarily what they do while there will determine success.
I think in the recent past what we've seen is an over-emphasis on young players as against having a nice balance with seasoned experienced players in this format of the game with some young talented players who have shown the potential. Most of our players should be selected on merit and not necessarily on potential. And that to me will be the most important decision that the selectors will make.
Group B consists of Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, Scotland, Hong Kong, and the runners-up of the ICC World Cricket League Division 2. When these qualifiers bowl off on March 4th, would it be the minnows scripting fairy tales, or will the established nations fulfill expectation?
Trinidad and Tobago Red Force have slumped to the bottom of the regional four-day championship standings after suffering their third straight defeat on Sunday. In the latest points standings, Red Force were languishing on 80 points with just 2 wins in 9 matches. Jamaica Scorpions, meanwhile, have taken aim at second place in the already decided championship following their comprehensive 57-run victory over Hurricanes in Kingston. They have 91 points and are only 3.6 points behind the second-placed Barbados Pride, who drew with newly minted champions Guyana Jaguars in their contest at Kensington Oval in Bridgetown. Scorpions and Pride will clash at the Oval in the last round of the competition starting Thursday. That fixture will decide second place. Hurricanes, who face Volcanoes in the final round, lie 4th on 85.2 points, while Volcanoes are 5th on 80.4 points. Jaguars, still unbeaten this season, sit on top of the standings on 145.2 points, wrapping up their 4th straight title following their 8th round win over Scorpions in Kingston. They take on Red Force in Georgetown in their final fixture. Staying with cricket, Jamaican Xavier Marshall will turn out for United States in the regional Super 50 starting later this month after being named in the 14-man squad for the one-day tournament. The 31-year-old played 7 tests and 24 one-day internationals for West Indies, but failed to make much of an impression during an underwhelming career. He managed just 2 test half-centuries and a single 100 in ODIs, and that was an unbeaten 157 against Canada 10 years ago. Marshall follows in the footsteps of fellow Jamaican and Test star Jermaine Lawson, who also turned out for the U.S. 4 years ago at the ICC World Cricket League Division 3 tournament. United States will do battle in Group B of the Regional Super 50, which runs from January 30th to February 24th, alongside Jamaica Scorpions, Leeward Islands Hurricanes, Guyana Jaguars, and English county side Kent. The group will be staged in Antigua, while Group A, comprising reigning champions Barbados Pride, along with Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, combined campuses and colleges Marooners, Windward Islands Volcanoes, and English county side Hampshire, will be contested in Barbados. Switching sports now, Jamaica football boss Michael Ricketts says negotiations are underway with national head coach Theodore Whitmore over his contract. Whitmore and the JFF have been at loggerheads over his current pay arrangement as the national team prepares for an international friendly with South Korea. Ricketts has rubbished media reports that both parties arrived at an agreement, and we also hear in this report from TVJ Sport that Jamaican sensation Leon Bailey will miss the friendly.
Last week, TVJ Sports reported that there were unrest among the senior Reggae Boys coaching staff as members have refused to sign what they say are less than acceptable contracts presented to them by the JFF. This left uncertainty over whether the coaches would be available for the South Korea friendly away on January 30, but JFF President Michael Ricketts expects at least one to be there.
Jerome will be actually in Trinidad with Arnett Gardens, but as far as I know, we'll be traveling to Turkey when we engage South Korea.
Last week, Ricketts stated on Hits 92 FM Sports Grill that coach Theodore Whitmore and assistant Jerome Waite saw and agreed with the contracts. Sources later told the TVJ Sports that wasn't the case, but Ricketts disagreed.
Those reports are false, because I understand that figures were quoted in terms of dollars, which are not true. And I would want to think that whoever gave these media houses in terms of a dollar relating to Coach Whitmore's salary is incorrect.
Ricketts, however, stated that the contracts are now being looked at by the JFF board.
Of course, we will look at it, and I wouldn't say there won't be or there will be, but certainly we'll look at it. We're negotiating, and I would think so. It's something that we're going to look at, and we want a consensus amongst both parties. So I would think so, definitely.
Meanwhile, in a Facebook post on Monday, Craig Butler said Leon Bailey and Kyle Butler will not be able to take up the offer of the JFF to play against South Korea.
Like we thought that just maybe the players would not be available since it was not a FIFA date. A FIFA date comes up in March, around about mid-March. They will be invited again, and let's see what happens then.
The Reggae Boys' next friendly could be in March on Jamaican soil.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about Hurricane Harvey. We're in Houston right now. What are some of the actions that decentralized groups have done with disaster relief here in the aftermath of the hurricane?
Well, basically rebuilding civil society from the search and rescue in the immediate aftermath, even getting ready before that, and then moving to the rebuilding phases. And so you had a disaster response, and then you moved to the rebuilding. So people have been at all levels. They've been running clinics.
Again, the major developments of this day, St. Vincent considers taking Trinidad and Tobago to the Caribbean Court of Justice over a currency issue. And in sport, former West Indies batsman Darren Ganga urges the West Indies to tread cautiously as they prepare for their World Cup qualification against Ireland. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to ConnorNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.